one day I'm on the bus leaving Detroit, going to Chicago. No, I'm on the bus from Chicago leaving Detroit. At that time, about 12 years ago, I was on the Chitlin circuit, as we call it. And I was lecturing, and I was using Greyhound or Amtrak. And I got on the bus, and I ended up sitting next to an Indian guy. And this Indian guy, we got into deep conversation. I think he was saying he was going over to India. And we were talking about family. We were talking about wealth building. We were talking about community. And we got into a conversation where he was basically saying, I said, where you live at? He said, yeah, I live with my parents. I'm gonna say, man, how old are you, man? He was like 30 something. And he said, listen, I don't know why. I don't know why your culture, why they don't want to live with their parents. Why is that such a negative thing that people in America, when he said culture, he really meant American culture. Why is it that you guys don't want to live with your parents? What is the problem with living with your family until you get your life together? This is what we do in our culture. Even if you get married, you may be able to come into the house for a time, right? Because the logic is that you're putting all of your resources together so that you can all grow. So if everybody's resources are coming together and the family is growing and individuals are growing, that's the part that we seem to forget. You know, growing up in America, you laugh when you see 10 people in one car, right? 10 foreigners in one car. You may see that you like, oh man, what they doing? You know, we laughing in the black community. We like, what are they doing? Or you see 15 people coming out of one house. Am I saying that this is how you have to do it? What I'm saying is that there's something to this. There's something that other cultures understand, the power in community, the power in bringing your resources together, which is what in my community, we don't do a good job of. We have not done a good job of that. You don't, but when you travel outside the country, and I'm coming from a guy that's traveled to over 70 countries. I've traveled and studied literally in 70 countries. I've studied the people. In the times that I've had more time to live in those cultures, I've observed that for most of these countries, family is a big thing. It's totally different from where we are. So he went on to say that, look, if we get married, we can move in with our folks for a while, but we can eventually be out. So the idea is, and if somebody needs help, if somebody in the family, if they come up on a bad time or something's going on, we all pitch in, we all help them. But if it's your family, he said, what do you get? What do you guys get from going out and struggling for years and making bad decisions? He said, so what, you bought a house? Look at the mortgage that you're under. And then you try to refinance, or it's an adjustable mortgage. Now you're spanked. You're going to spend the rest of your life paying for a house that you may not even be able to pay for, that you probably won't even be able to pay for. By the way, mortgage means death pledge. M-O-R-T. Think about that. Mortician, right? Mortified means death, right? Rigor mortis, stiff body. So gauge means pledge. So it's a death pledge. That's what mortgage is, meaning you're not going to pay your, I think that comes from France. You're not going to pay your house off. It'll take you 30 some years. And so the logic is, by the time you finish paying that house, this is something aside from this video, but by the time you finish paying that house, it's not going to be worth nothing. But you will put all these resources, and then you have paid more. So if your house is $1 million, you probably have paid 1.5 million. And so you don't have anything really to pull out of. So, and I'm sidebarring. Ideally, it would be better for you to get a house for some years or whatever, and then you get out. You pull all your equity out and you go somewhere else to a newer house. Less upkeep, right? You take that money and you go elsewhere. You sell when it's valuable. But 30, 35 years, that's the old school way. It happened and it's fine. But let me get back to the point. You go and you out. Where are the spoils? You go out and you can never pay your bills. Am I saying that going out does not build character? It does build character. It can build character. But there needs to be more of a strategy to how you're living. So you don't get ashamed because you're 20 years old or 30 or even 40. I don't care how old you are. If you have family and you need to get on your feet, you don't be ashamed of that. What is my family for? What is the purpose? Should I go live with a stranger? Because a lot of people can't live with their family members, the arguments and all that. Put all of that aside. If you're a guy and some woman's like, oh, you live with your mama, that's the joke, right? But you may need to get your life together. That woman might not be for you. Same thing, woman, man, whatever. And usually in other cultures, let me tell you how. I'm in Ethiopia right now. Nobody is leaving home until marriage, especially the women. You're not leaving home until marriage. You're not running out in society uncovered. Nobody can protect you. You're not running out there dealing with all kinds of stuff. You're staying home until you get married. And if you don't get married, you'll just be there. Very rarely, some people may move out. I want my independence. Okay, fine. But by that time you have saved up, you've been living, you're okay. That's fine. If you stay till you 30, whatever, and you feel like you're okay, cool. I don't care if you're 35, whatever it is. The point is, a family is supposed to be a resource. In these foreign countries, they work different. It's nothing. Family is, there is no, I ain't watching no grandkids, all this stuff that you hear. That's not how it works. In Dominican Republic, that's not how it works. In Ethiopia, that's not how it works. In Costa Rica, that's not how it works. Them grandparents be crazy about their grandkids. Nobody is saying you got to get out. You're 18 or you're 21. Who's saying that? They're not saying that. In the quote unquote more developed countries, right, where it's more capitalistic, they're saying things like that. Typically, not always. But the point is, you don't need to face embarrassment. Put this in your mind. It's not embarrassing to get your life together. You go where you got the resource. Is it good to go through some things? Listen, at whatever point you move out, you're going to go through some things regardless. It can be 18, 21, whatever, you're going to go through some things. But you do understand the importance of working together in a family. Americans, by and large, are individualistic. They're selfish. They think about themselves. When I hear these crazy conversations about, I'm not going to pay bills here, I'm going to keep my money, and you're going to just work and pay everything. That's a team. Or people are living in their parents' houses and they don't want to contribute. Or people get put out. Are you 18? You put out. Why would you put your child out into the world? Why would you do that? Like 18, just because they may not have enough training. I don't care if you're 21. You may not have enough training. So the family is supposed to be the foundation. This is how other families can come in, jump up, and build wealth. You might be laughing at the guy that's the Mexican. He come in with the lawnmower at first. And then next thing you know, he got a trailer with 4 more people working because he's stacking, right? He's living in a house with 7 people. And next thing you know, they got 5 different trucks. They got a big lawn service, making $500,000, $700,000 a year. There's power in community. And so whether you're a parent watching this, whether you're a younger person, go back home if you need to go back home. Allow your children or your family, whoever that is, to come home. That's how you build up together. That's how you become rich. Do you think the Rockefellers or the Carnegie, do you think all these people was like, no, you got to get out? Family. And then when they got it all together, guess what they did? They got the finances together. They said, we're going to have a trust. We're going to build a trust. We're going to have a trust. And here are the rules for how things go down. We're going to protect our assets. We're going to protect the money. So not one person is not going to ruin the Walmart family. One person is not going to ruin a Hilton family. One person is not going to ruin, John Piers Morgan, J.P. Morgan. One person can't ruin it because we got this stuff protected. We work too hard and we work together. So we all know the rules of the family. We all know the rules. You got to abide by this. One person ain't blowing the $1 million that was left. But if you're not in the family, if you don't have this stuff planned out, if you don't talk, you're left in the wind. One of your parents died, you got the debt, you lose your house in probate. I'm veering off, but I'm making a point that family is so important. But on the other side, if, let's say you're a single individual, if you're single and you're not doing anything, and you back at home, when you move back at home, it's got to be focused. Go back home, focus. What you doing? There's relationships and all that stuff. Build, stack cash. Stack up. Learn what you need to learn. Work together. If you're a single person right now, what the F are you doing? You not focused? What are you doing? You think you're supposed to be hanging out, just doing whatever? Any single person that you're supposed to dedicate your life to working on yourself. Of course, when you get with another person, you will continue that. But you're supposed to be ready for when that person comes along. You're ready. What was the purpose of you staying at your mama's house? To be a leech? Or your parents' house? I remember when I got injured, I had to go back to my mother's house, sleeping on a cot on the east side of Detroit. People were breaking into houses, stealing stuff. I had to sleep with a gun next to me. Now, it wasn't the greatest situation at that time, but it was important. I had to do it. It was important. The 44 mag, it used to be right here, arm's length, and I was sleeping on the floor. So sometimes my mother would go to bingo or whatever, but it helped me build myself back up. It helped me build myself back up. So I was thankful that my mom or my pops I could go back. But when you go back with a purpose. You're not there just passing it. You go back with the hunger to build up, to take off. You go back to better yourself. You're not there complacent. So your family is there. Don't be embarrassed. If a man doesn't want to deal with you, if a woman doesn't want to deal with you, because too often they know that people are BSing. So that's a case-by-case thing. Whoever is there, they're like, this guy. In America, you ain't got no motivation. That's how they're thinking. And to a large degree, it can be said that maybe some people don't want to be just out there, But the point is that the family is there for a reason. If you're a young person or old person and you need to go back, don't be embarrassed. I had to go back for a year and a half. Number one, I had an injury. So I had to get surgeries back at home, but then I couldn't really walk for a minute. That was tough. So I had to go back. But to that guy's point, he said, hey, this is how we build wealth. I'm Indian. It'll be 7 of us in the house living. What's the problem? It's your family. You'd rather go live with a stranger? Why would you do that? And when you think of the logic of it, why would somebody do that? So don't be afraid to go back. But when you're single, as an individual, if you're not married, and you have to go back home or stay at home, you should be working on yourself. You should be working on yourself, baby. Come on. There's nothing else that you should be doing. So whenever you reach, and by working on yourself, that would help you attract the ideal person. By working on yourself, it would help you have your affairs in order. So staying or going back home is like a trampoline, right? It's a springboard for you to take off. And then when you hit the world as an individual, when you're outside the home, you're taking off and running. You got money stacked up, you got skills stacked up, and you're a better person overall. You're a better person. And that, my friend, is the way to take off in life, to improve. You have to use things for what they are worth. If you're going to go to school, you go to school to learn. You don't go to school to skip school. Why would you go to school to skip school? You'd be defeating the purpose of going to school. I know we all learn different, but I'm making a point is that whatever it is that you're doing, you need to be using it You need to engage for its utility. You need to engage for what that thing is going to give you. If you're going to go in the gym, you go in the gym to work out. You don't go in the gym and sit up and talk all day. I'm laughing at people. I'm like, what is it? Did you come to work out or are you talking? Are you socializing? Is this a club or is this a gym? You use things for their utility. This is how you get the most results out of life. This is how you build the life you want. This is how you build yourself. You build character. You use things for what they're worth. But if you're joking around, as my pops would say, lollygagging, he was a military guy, so he was always tough on us. Y'all lollygagging, you're sleeping too late. It'd be like 7:30. I'm like, Pops, what's up, man? It's Saturday. See, I had them parents where they'll wake you up and playing that old school music. We grew up in Detroit. So you got you Stevie Wonder playing and all this. You got the white walls and all that. You like, what? Can't sleep in on Saturday. Got to do something. But anyway, all those things helped. They helped. Now, I wasn't doing that at 30 years old or 25. I'm talking about when we were growing up, of course. All that being said, family is foundation. Don't be anybody that's talking crazy to you because of a decision, because of a hard time in life, or because it's better for you. You don't have nothing to prove. There's nothing for you. You don't have anything to prove. You're not getting any badges for going out there and getting swallowed up by the world. There'll be plenty enough time for that. But if you can take a better route, if you can not be such an individual, this is what we are. We don't think family. In South America, they think family. Even in many places in Europe and Africa, they damn sure think family. Caribbean, family. It's not an embarrassment because you're living with your parents. Everybody may fall, anybody can fall on a hard time at any time. Yes, do you want to try to be an individual and try to solve things? You need to cut your teeth, I understand. But if it gets too thick, you better go back to the nest, recoup, and then you shoot out. You take off. There's no embarrassment. There's no shame with that. And most cultures, other cultures in the planet know that. But in the West, in America and Canada, United States and Canada, people are laughing. You're 36, you're on the couch. That's because you're on the couch, joking and BSing. You're not there. You're not there to not be there. See, when I went to that cot, I was just thinking of everything I need to do to rebuild and get out so that I could be able to give back and help my family for helping me. No shame in going back to live with your parents. If you have to do it, you do it. But you do it for the right reasons. Family is everything. Family is the foundation. Before I use somebody else, I'd rather use my family. At least we have blood. At least we got sweat, equity. At least we got time together. At least they know me better than I know myself sometimes. Even though I don't think that's possible, but they know me well. Might have to go back home. Cultures around the world have been doing this for eons. It's time that we wake up and start and shirk that embarrassment and stop worrying about what other people are thinking. And if you as a parent or you as a child, as a person that you got parents that be open to it, but don't be a nuisance when you go back home. Be an asset. That's important.